The Hireling Shepherd by William Holman Hunt. Welcome back. Today we're stepping into one of the most richly symbolic and technically breathtaking paintings of the Victorian era, The Hireling Shepherd, completed in 1851 by William Holman Hunt. It hangs today in the Manchester Art Gallery, and the more you look at it, the more it gives back. The artist. William Holman Hunt was born in London in 1827, the son of a warehouse manager. He showed an early gift for drawing, and despite his father's initial resistance, he was admitted to the Royal Academy schools at just 17. There, he formed one of the most consequential friendships in British art history, with John Everett Millais and Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Together, in 1848, they founded the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, a radical artistic movement that rejected what they saw as the lazy, formulaic conventions that had dominated painting since Raphael. The Pre-Raphaelites wanted to return to something more earnest: intense colors, meticulous detail painted directly from nature, serious moral subjects, and above all, truthfulness. Hunt was perhaps the most devout of the Brotherhood, not just artistically but spiritually. He was a deeply religious man who later made multiple pilgrimages to the Holy Land to paint biblical scenes with authentic, observed backgrounds. He believed painting had a moral duty. Every symbol mattered. Every detail was chosen. He died in 1910, aged 83, having outlived almost all his contemporaries and witnessed British art transform around him, yet never abandoning the principles he'd helped to found. The painting. The Hireling Shepherd was painted almost entirely outdoors in the Surrey countryside near Ewell during the summer of 1851. Hunt famously worked in blazing sunlight to capture that specific intensity of color, those saturated greens, that glowing afternoon light filtering through the trees. The result is almost hallucinatory in its vividness. At first glance, it looks like a charming pastoral scene. A shepherd and a shepherdess sit together at the edge of a field, flirting. He leans in close, showing her something in his hand: a death's head hawk moth, a creature traditionally associated with mortality and ill omen. She barely looks at it. She's feeding a lamb in her lap with green apples, which are harmful to sheep. In the background, the flock wanders, unsupervised, into a field of corn where they should not be. This is not a love scene. It is a moral allegory, and a sharp one. The symbolism. Hunt explained his intentions clearly. The hireling shepherd, a paid worker rather than a true guardian, is neglecting his flock. He is distracted by a woman, by idle pleasures, by the trivialities of courtship, and while he dallies, his charges suffer. The reference is biblical. In the Gospel of John, Christ describes the difference between the good shepherd, who genuinely cares for his sheep, and the hireling, who abandons them when danger comes because the sheep are not truly his. Hunt was aiming this allegory directly at the Church of England, which in the 1840s and 50s was convulsed by theological controversy, debates about Catholicism, about doubt, about ritualism versus evangelicalism. Hunt saw the clergy as hirelings, men more interested in their own comfort and quarrels than in the spiritual welfare of their congregation. The death's head moth in the shepherd's hand is a warning sign he is showing rather than heeding. The lamb being fed green apples, food that will make it ill, represents a flock being led toward harm by those who should protect it. The sheep wandering into the corn, out of frame and out of control, are the congregation, lost while their shepherd flirts. The Pre-Raphaelite technique. What makes this painting astonishing beyond its symbolism is its sheer visual intensity. Hunt painted it on a wet white ground, a technique that gives the colors an almost luminous quality, as if the light is coming from within the canvas. Every blade of grass, every wildflower, every curl of the shepherd's hair is rendered with extraordinary precision. The woman's red dress is one of the most vibrant passages of color in Victorian painting. The foliage behind the couple is so densely observed it feels almost oppressive in its richness. And yet the composition is carefully controlled. The two figures anchor the foreground while the landscape behind them breathes and opens. Hunt was painting in the open air before plein-air painting was fashionable in Britain. He sat in that field for months, chasing the same light conditions, committed to truth above convenience. The Hireling Shepherd rewards patience. It operates on at least 3 levels simultaneously: as a technically dazzling piece of painting, as a critique of Victorian religious complacency, and as a timeless observation about the cost of distraction and dereliction of duty. Hunt never softened his moral vision to please his audience. He believed art had work to do, that beauty and meaning were not opposites but partners. And in this painting, burning with summer light and loaded with quiet warning, he achieved exactly that. If you'd like to explore more pre-Raphaelite masterworks or dive deeper into the symbols Hunt embedded across his career, subscribe and stay with us. There's much more to uncover.